Yo, what's up, SK? So
What?
sometimes things spill over on social media, and me personally, as a person that never deflects and always willing to, take any kind of smoke, whatever, however you want to call it. Sometimes it's best that we get together and just, you know, express our differences so we can be good at the end of the day. You get what I'm saying?
100%.
But before we even get started, though, I just want to clarify something. Get this light right. We can clarify this. So, when your last things was butthurt, but
Yep.
I'm kind of confused on what you're saying. I'm butthurt about.
When I say your butt hurt, is I don't understand what your defense of Quasi is. I get what you're saying, that everybody deserves blame, and I 100% agree with you. Quasi deserves blame. KOC deserves blame. Brian Flores deserves blame. They all deserve blame, but you're like completely just ignoring the fact that Quasi has been terrible, terrible in his drafts. Terrible. So I don't understand the defend. There's nothing to defend Quasi for. That he had one really good offseason free agent signings when he signed Andrew Van Ginkel, Blake Cashman, and those guys last season. And I gave him 100% credit for it. Hell, even this past offseason when he went out there and signed Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. Now, granted, those haven't worked out to what we thought they would work out. And I felt like those were the right decisions by Quasi, by all means. But my specific thing is, when you're a GM of an NFL franchise and you want to have consistent success in the NFL, you have to draft well. And if you don't, you're going to be a bottom of the barrel football team. And that looks like where we're headed. I'm not taking any blame away from KOC, and I'm not taking any blame away from Brian Flores. But the majority of this blame, when it comes to my original post and tweet, when I said this may be the highest we draft in years, and we got a GM that can't draft to save his life, that was the whole context of it. Was strictly drafting. I didn't mention anything about his free agent signings. I didn't mention any of that, which the majority of them have been very good, and I've given him his credit in the past for that. But if you want to be successful as a GM, you got to draft well. Quasi has failed to do so, and he started in his look. I won't even hold his first draft against him. I wouldn't even hold the 2022 draft where he traded back 20 spots with your divisional rival, gave up an opportunity to draft Kyle Hamilton, and still drafted a safety instead in Lewis Seen, who's I don't even think is in the league anymore, and then gathered a second-round pick to draft a guy in Andrew Booth, where I know he's not in the league anymore. So that I'm not even going to hold 2022 against him, because it's his first year drafting as a GM. I get it. We'll let that one slide. You go to the 2023 draft, Addison. Good pick. Kind of the obvious pick there, but I'm not going to take it away from you. You drafted Addison.
All
But
right.
then the only other guy you drafted in that 2023 draft that was worth mentioning is Blackman. Mekhi Blackman is now with the Colts, that you traded away for a fifth-round pick that you used to trade for an Adam Thielen that hasn't done anything for this team this year.
Okay.
That is a Quasi move. Quasi made that trade.
Okay. So I
So
just I don't want to.
so
I
so
want
to
to be
to
respectful.
defend
I don't want
him,
to cut you off.
I'm like curious as how could somebody defend him in his draft classes when it's been this terrible.
Okay. See this. You done, bro?
Yep.
Okay. First off, that still didn't answer the question about being butthurt, but I get it. But this is my thing though, right? So we already know when Quasi was brought in here to this team, whatever, at the GM, that they wanted to have this, collaboration situation of what's going on, front office coaching or whatever, right? So I just want to take that into consideration. That's what's actually going on. Now, while I say you just can't solely blame Kwesi for the drafts, if your coaching staff gives you names or gives you whatever they feel like what they need in players on this team, and he does what he needs to do to go out and get said players or type of skill set players, you draft that, and then you turn around and you can't develop it, right? That's why I'm saying it's not solely on Kwesi when it comes to the draft, because he's not this isn't Rick Spellman. Rick Spellman was an OG scout back in the day, right? So Kwesi comes from a whole different, situation when it comes to drafting. He relies on his coaching staff. He relies on Kevin O'Connell for offensive players. He relies on Brian Flores when it comes to the defense. So my gripe with the situation was I feel like it's easy, and I think it's kind of word I'm looking for. We're just gonna say easy. I think it's easy for some Viking fans to go out there and be like, all right, team's not going good, it's automatically the GM. And I'm like, nah, bro, the GM got problems too. We can admit that. But at the end of the day, when it comes into the draft, bringing in players or whatever, Kwesi is not the only one making these decisions. And if we want to sit here and really be honest, that was sort of the reason why Rick Spielman got blown out for doing rogue shit, and why Mike Zimmer really didn't want to be here anymore because Spielman was doing his own thing and he wasn't talking to his coaches. Now you got a general manager that's basically an extension of the coaches to give them everything that they want, and you got people out here talking about, yeah, it's 100% on Kwesi. Nah, bro, it's on everybody. And when I'm talking about development, I look at it like this. If it ain't the defensive line or the receivers, there's no real development on this roster. I don't know if you agree or not, but that's just how I look at it. Because we drafted a lot of defensive players, a lot of offensive linemen, and they haven't panned out. So you willing to tell me a person that doesn't have the cachet from a scout point of view or a quote-unquote football guy, he relies on everybody else in the building to let him know what he should do in the draft because he's just going to be the one pulling the trigger. You're going to tell me that it's 100% on him when you have a whole committee helping you out? Nah, bro. It don't work like that.
He made those hires, though. He made those decisions.
Yeah.
He put the responsibility of the development of players into those guys' hands. He hired those guys.
But that's what you're supposed
to
do.
He deserves to take blame for that.
I never said he doesn't take blame, but he's not the solely. You said Kwesi's 100% to blame for the drafts. But what I'm telling you is this, though. We all got a business mind out here, whatever. When you hire people, you delegate for them for their expertise or whatever. You tell them to get back to you. If you are relying on your coaches and they telling you, hey, I want X, Y, and Z, and you're going out there getting that for them. And when they get on this roster, a year later, Brian Flores is like, nah, I can't play Mekhi Blackman. I can't play a Caleb Evans. And it's like, yo, why can't you play them when this is what you wanted? This is what you wanted. Okay, I'm going to give you another example, right? We talk about Ed Ingram. I don't like PFF. I don't understand it. I don't think it's the eye test or whatever, right? But peep game, right? You willing to tell me the production that we're getting right now from Real Fries is higher than the production that we was getting from Ed Ingram for the past couple of seasons? No, it's not.
Exactly. Who made the decision to move on and go sign Will Fries? It was Kwesi.
No, bro, that's coaching too. That's coaching
at the end of the day, Kwesi makes the final decision on these signings.
I'm thinking
he makes the final decision.
Yes,
obviously, KOC has a hand in. Okay, we want to go grab this guy. This is guy we got our eyes set on.
Yeah,
but
he's going there telling them that shit.
It's Kwesi making the final decision of signing these guys and giving these guys that big money payday.
You know what? I'm gonna give you an example, right? This is like COVID. This is like COVID when Donald Trump put his name on those COVID checks, right? We know damn well the whole government was responsible for that COVID check, but Donald Trump put his name on it. Nah, it's the same, bro. It's the same. It's the same. Hey.
It's not the same.
Hey, it's the same. you're just saying that because Kwesi is the general manager and he's the like you said, he's the last say. He's the one that's gonna make the call. He's the one writing the checks. And I get it. It should always fall to the person at the top of the food chain. It should. But Kwesi was brought in here as a non-regular GM. He defers to certain things, to his coaching and to Grigson and to Mike Pitton and all these other guys. And I said,
who hired those guys? Who hired those guys? Who hired those guys?
Kwesi did.
My point exactly. It all drips down to Kwesi at the end of the day. If I'm an owner of a company and I hire somebody to be the manager of my establishment,
okay,
and he goes out and he hires guys to be the assistant manager, the shift manager, and all these other positions,
right?
And they aren't doing their job properly, the first person I'm looking at as the owner is the person that hired them. I'm looking at him like, yo, you brought these dudes in to run my company. Why are you delegating to these guys, or why did you hire these guys that you wanted to delegate to, and they're obviously not doing their job? You got to hold Kwesi accountable for that.
I never said I'm not holding Kwesi accountable. I'm just not finna hold Kwesi 100% accountable.
Okay, not 100% accountable.
You get what I'm saying? Because I think, and it's funny to me too, because it's like we're not gonna have these uncomfortable conversations when this team is winning 14 games a season and shit like that, right? We're not. Yeah, no. And I feel like thing that I do, and I don't give two shits. It's like I'm gonna always look at the situation differently of what can get better and what's being done that's being overshadowed. But the situation is like with this being happening right now with, you know, lack of development on the team and you know, defense is being bad, offense is not moving the ball. This is something I talked about years ago. So that's kind of why it's kind of like I would say I'm more passionate about it, because it's like I can't really say like, oh, it's on Kwesi. It's like we're just coming to the situation right now because this team is in the shitter and we all see the writing on the wall. I think Kwesi has an opportunity to change this shit. He can go in there. He can tell Kevin O'Connell, hey, I need you to change a couple of things on your coaching staff in order to get better or whatever. He can actually do that. But that's the job of a general manager. But just to go back to the initial situation, it's like you can't put that 100% on him. You can't.
Okay, and maybe not 100%. But
wait, bro. I gotta say this too. And you know, Kevin O'Connell, before he even signed his extension, he basically was out there saying, yo, I want more control. I want this and I want that. I'm willing to bet you Kevin O'Connell has more say-so now than what he had when he first got with the team, especially after the game. So you have to hold him accountable just as much as possible.
No, 100%. And like I said before, KOC's play calling, the majority of this season has been terrible. Has been bad. Whether it was with JJ McCarthy, whether it was with Carson Wentz behind center, it has been bad.
Let me say this though, because the thing about it is
the same way.
The thing about the play calling, I look at it through a different lens, right? We only complain about the play calling when shit don't work. The situational play calling is the problem with KLC. Now, yes. I can see the all 22. I can see guys open. I can see Carson Wentz or whoever's our quarterback not hitting that shit. So I can't say on a whole open, concept that it is all of the play calling. That's all I'm saying is like with me, I always want to have more nuance to it because it's easy to make blanket statements like, oh, this team is bad. Yeah, we know the team is bad, but why are they bad? The play calling situationally is bad. When it comes to like 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, that's when the problems arise, for the play calling. I just want to get that out there. Like,
100%. I 100% agree with that.
We gotta, if we're gonna do this content situation, whatever, I just feel like we gotta be more specific on what we say. It just gets to the point where like the blanket statements, because that shit can mean anything. You get what I'm saying? Like it's easy to say that.
I've been critical of Kwesi and his drafting since his first draft, because the first move he made was trading back 20 picks with the Detroit Lions and drafting Lewis Cine instead of Kyle Hamilton.
I got a problem with that.
that was an issue. That was a bad trade. And you move back, you garner four top 75 picks. All 4 of those players are no longer on this team. You have to have retention when it comes to drafting players. And yes, development is a huge part of that. I completely agree. But when these guys go to other teams, they're not doing anything there either. Ed Ingram is nothing to brag about. Garrett Brad, I guess you can throw Garrett Bradbury out there. But that was a Rick Spielman pick.
He's healthy, but the coaching staff didn't want him on the roster anymore. The coaching staff decided they wanted to go out in free agency and get something that was a whole lot better. But you got something a whole lot better, and this dude might have to retire and end his career, and Gary Bradbury will still be playing.
And we'll all agree. I think we all agree that Ryan Kelly was a big flop as far as a free agent signing. So, and I'm not gonna put that on because I was gun ho about it. I was like, this is a great signing,
bro. Put it on Quasi.
No, because I have nothing against Kwesi's free agent signings because they were all necessary and they were all signings in position groups that we had needs for. So I'm not going to sit here and criticize him for signing a Will Fries or signing a Ryan Kelly or a Jonathan Allen or a Javon Hargrave. I agreed with those signings, so I'm not going to turn around and sit here and be like, oh, well, Kwesi's a terrible free agent signing GM too, because I agreed with those signings, and I give him credit for those. So, but at the same time, if they don't work out, then you also got to kind of put the blame on them too. That I didn't see Bradbury do anything special when he went to New England, but they're winning.
But they're winning and he's playing.
But they're winning and he's playing. Your best ability is your availability.
You can't make the club in the tub, right?
You said what?
You can't make the club in the tub. That's how it goes, right? That's how it goes.
No, it's not.
But what I'm saying is this though, right? When those signings are a direct contribute of lack of development on this roster, and when you really break it down and you go into the situation of why do you have to go out there and sign, Kelly and Fries in the same offseason because you don't believe in the people you had years prior? Why do you have to go out and sign Hargrave and Allen because you didn't really necessarily believe in the starters that you had? Why do you got to go out there and sign Isaiah Rodgers because coaching staff didn't believe in what they had, going into the season? I mean, I don't understand it though, bro. Have you ever seen a team start their 53 initial, man roster with only 4 corners? It's usually It's usually 6 or 7. And that
was the same as last year too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
And that's on Brian Flores, because when you get an injury, now you're having to start, guys who don't need to play. So you willing to tell me that Jeff Okudah in camp
never liked that signing.
In camp was better than Blackman, who you traded away.
Oh no, I would much rather have Blackman because he's younger. We already know what Okudah is. I never liked that signing in the first place.
That's what I'm saying. The coaching, this is what I believe Kwesi is doing. I believe Kwesi is fixing everything his coaches can't do. Where he's like, yo, I'm drafting these guys, I'm bringing them in, you can't develop them. Okay, cool. Now you tell me now we got to get rid of them because you say you're not going to play them. So now I got to go on the back end and sign players to replace that shit when that's actually what you wanted. Now I know you a big Michigan fan, right? I know that, right? Right? Yeah. Okay, peep game. If you look at where Kwesi drafts majority of his talent from, and I'm gonna start with Lewis Seen, Georgia, right? He won a national title. Ed Ingram, national title probably over there with LSU, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got Dallas Turner from Alabama, national title, right? So you're willing to tell me you got those 3 guys from these powerhouse schools in college winning national titles, and they automatically come to your team and they can't play?
It happens all the time.
That's your coaching, bro.
It happens all the time. Not just with the Vikings.
It might happen to 1 or 2 guys, but it happens too often with this team.
We see it with for instance, Alabama quarterbacks all the time. These guys go out there, they won national championships, and they're a flop in the NFL.
But they
It's
got
guys that
starters in the NFL too, though.
it's guys that go to these powerhouse schools. A lot of them are getting covered up by great coaching, or they're getting covered up by great teams.
Say it again. Say the first thing. Say it again.
Great coaching.
And when they get to the NFL, to the Vikings, they don't have a great coaching, because I just think like sometimes we don't have this conversation about this team trying to be in win now mode. And when you're trying to be in win now mode, you don't have any time for proper development. And that's just what I think this team is at, and that's why they are having so many problems, and why the coaching staff doesn't want to be patient. And I'm going to say, I know some people out there hate when I say patient. Be patient when it's time to actually develop guys.
Now you have no choice but to be patient. The team's not going anywhere this year. Well, granted, it's still early in the year, but I think we all see the writing on the wall of kind of how this year is going to go. So we have no reason not to be patient. The only way we can go is be patient. You have a young quarterback behind center, regardless of what you feel about him, or I know people feel different ways about JJ McCarthy. You have to find out what he's made of. And we're going to KOC now, and we're getting a little off Kwesi, that's where I'm holding KOC the most accountable, is when it comes to the quarterback position and the development of the quarterback position. We've seen him with a veteran quarterback and him being able to get him going and make him look like a superstar for 2 or 3 weeks, a veteran guy. But we haven't seen KOC develop a young quarterback. That's a whole different ball game.
It is.
So we have failed to see that from KOC. And that's one thing that I'm looking at is, yes, obviously you want to see the team succeed as a whole. But what I'm looking at for the rest of this year is I'm looking at how KOC and Josh McCown, which Josh McCown's more than likely going to be out of here. In my opinion, he's going to find a job somewhere else after this season. And probably Brian Flores as well, because we haven't signed him to an extension. His contract's up at the end of the year. I think the writing's on the wall there, especially with the year that he's having this year and how this defense is looking. I think it might be one of those mutual parting ways type of thing.
I predicted this.
But we have to see development out of JJ McCarthy, with obviously KOC being the head of that, and Josh McCown being a part of the head of that. So that's where I'm looking at KOC and saying, all right, bro, you're the quarterback whisperer here. You're the guy that's always going to get that quarterback right. Like, well, you have a young guy. Let's see you do it. So that's where I'm holding KOC accountable. I'm holding Kwesi accountable for when you are delegating, hire the right guy, and we're not sitting here talking about it. So hire the right guy to delegate to.
So let's get back to the Kwesi playing. So do you think Kevin O'Connell is the guy to get this done? Honestly.
I think
no
in
fluff.
the next,
No fluff.
I'm gonna say in the next
3 weeks, we're gonna figure it out.
Yep, 3 to 5 weeks, we're really gonna know if KOC could be that guy to lead us to a Super Bowl one day. Because I'm not going to say he's necessarily gotten a pass up until now.
Yes.
In a sense, but you do got to take into account he was running Josh Dobbs out there. He was running my boy Nick Mullins out there, and they were still being productive for the majority of the time. So I do slightly give him a pass there. I do. But again, it goes back to now you have a young quarterback that you got to develop. And if this team is going to win a Super Bowl one day under KOC, he's going to have to develop a young quarterback in JJ McCarthy. So we'll find out in the next 3 to 5 weeks, in my opinion. And it's going to be extremely tough because of the schedule we have coming up. We have the Lions. We have the Ravens. We have the Cowboys look terrible today, but they can put up points. You have, I think, you have the Packers twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they didn't play the Packers. They got the Packers twice.
And
you got Seattle.
Yeah, we have just a death lineup of teams to
Hey,
where it's not looking good.
hey,
But
I just look at it like this though, bro. Like I'm not looking at the schedule, looking at it as being hard or not. I'm just looking at the schedule as learning experiences going forward. Because why not throw him in against the best players? And I just believe like
yeah,
if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And it can't
yeah,
be no this ain't Michigan playing against Appalachian State. Like you don't get that every week. You just don't. So
yeah.
I feel like straight up like Kevin O'Connell, these next 3 games we're gonna have to see what's really going on with him. But it's just like, and I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It's like I just feel like this is a tough situation for a young quarterback. Like I remember additionally going into the season, it was like, okay,
It's the
McCarthy,
greatest position.
it's the
Like,
great, but it's like, but if you actually really think about it, like this next couple of games could actually make or break his mentality as a quarterback in the NFL, because it's like there's so much going into these next games to kind of get this season back afloat, and you got to throw into the situation of he's in the process of actually saving the coach's job now if he doesn't
yeah,
perform. You get what I'm saying? And it's just like for him to, I mean, we both got kids. For him to have his kid, all this other stuff and shit like that, it's like this shit
yeah.
is. I would say it's unfair. It's not a good situation, but it's the NFL. I mean, shit. The fair only comes 2 times a year. Once in Orange County and in LA County. That's it. That's how that
Yeah.
shit works. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. But you just to initial go back to the debate, whatever. You can't put it 100% on Quasi. And I said,
A lot of it is on Quasi because at the end of the day, he's the leader of this franchise. He's the leader of this organization.
he's just a face.
And the owners, I'm looking at it like the owners are looking at it. They're gonna look at it and say, well, Quasi, you were in charge of this thing. You made these hires. You hired this coach. You hired this scouting department. You hired Ryan Grigson, which I think we're all in agreement that Ryan Grigson is absolutely fucking terrible. He was terrible in Indianapolis, and he's terrible
I'm
here.
not buying that, bro. I'm not. Why I'm not buying that, and this is what I hate. This is what I hate. This is not true, bro. This is not true. I hate when people go online and they Google the coaching staff and they Google the organization and they go down a couple of things and be like, "Oh, I want to blame him," or "I don't want to blame him." And I'm just like, bro, nobody knows what Grigson actually really does. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he might have the title of being the assistant general manager, whatever, assisting him, whatever. But we're not trying to say like he's the guy that's telling Quasi, hey, do this or do that. Like, we don't know. It's just kind of unfair. Like, to me, it's like, and I'm gonna say this though, too. It's like how people out there calling out Chris Cooper this year. Y'all late to the party, bro. It ain't Chris Cooper. It's fucking Kevin O'Connell. It's Kevin O'Connell's play calling. Because if you stop calling long developing plays down the field, then your lineman won't have to block that long. Like it goes deeper than that, bro. I just don't like when we just throw out names and be like, oh yeah, it's Chris Cooper and it's Brixton. I'm gonna just start saying, man, it's Ziggy Wilf, and we don't even see him no more. Like,
well, this goes back. We're getting into Chris Cooper now. This goes back to your piece of the development issue.
Yeah.
When's the last time, now outside of Christian Darrisaw, and you could say Brian O'Neill to an extent, outside of those two, when have we developed an offensive lineman? What has Chris Cooper done as an offensive line coach to say, you know what, we got this guy in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and we just developed this guy into this, really solid offensive lineman?
Blake Brandell.
I mean, can we though?
He's able to play multiple positions.
He's a backup.
That's fine. You see, SK, I gotta tell you how I look at things, right? I don't always look at certain draft picks as Pro Bowl players or whatever. I like bodies on the roster.
It depends on where you draft them, though.
Third through the 7th. Third through the 7th. I look at the shit as bodies, right? And, and even sometimes, for example, when you like a Lewis Singh situation, like I just felt like they should just let the shit ride out to his contract right now. It wasn't gonna hurt you. It is gonna be what it is, right? So I just like the body situation to where you need guys on the roster that know how to play. They might not be Pro Bowlers, they might not be starters, they might be backups. You need it, and this team doesn't even have that. Let's be real.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, they don't, and it's showing it right now.
How would this defensive back room look if they would have kept a Caleb Evans or kept Blackman or whatever?
What is a Caleb Evans doing right now?
He's playing. He's
where?
Where? I think he's in Jacksonville.
We don't even know for sure where, because he's not doing anything wherever he's at.
Okay.
Now the Blackman trade, I was confused about. The Blackman trade, I was like, I don't get it. We're already short in the cornerback room. I didn't understand the Blackman trade whatsoever.
Because Brian Flores can't coach.
So I wouldn't say can't coach. I would say he probably can't develop as much as we'd like him to.
He can't coach. He wants to. If we want to call Kevin O'Connell out for being too cute, we got to call him out for being too cute also. He wants a lot of his players to play hybrid roles when it's really not a fit. If I'm a defensive end, I want to rush the quarterback. If I'm a cornerback, teach me how to play zone, teach me how to play man. If I'm drafted as a safety, hey, I need to play safety. Either I'm playing in the box or I'm playing, cover one or whatever. That's what it needs to be. That's on Brian Flores. He wants these guys to be so smart and do certain things to where they can't do it, and then look what happens. It don't matter because you get your ass busted because the middle of the field is always open.
But just like you said earlier, when it's working, nobody's complaining about it.
I was complaining about it when it was working. I've been complaining about Brian Flores for the past 3 seasons, bro. You can ask anybody. I've been saying everything we had a conversation about today. I've been saying it for the past 3 seasons. I talked about the offensive line, long developing plays. I even dropped Chris Cooper's name multiple times. I talked about Brian Flores not having defensive backs develop, not having good linebackers, middle of the field always open. Basically the bend don't break mentality. How come Brian Flores allows his defense to be on the field for so long where they take a 80-yard drive for a field goal, even though they didn't give a damn touchdown? They ate the clock up, and then Kevin O'Connell's offense comes out there, and now they're pressing to go down the field because they behind maybe a point or two, and they need a touchdown now. Like I've talked about it before. It's this not new to me. Just like you said, because I read everything. Just like you said, I must don't watch Purple Parlor. You must don't check into Skol State of Mind.
Hey, we're both guilty then.
Hey, I'm gonna call it how I see it, bro.
No, because every week I've given KOC I've given to him every week as far as his play calling goes, particularly in situational downs like we already talked about. So I've given it to KOC, and half the time when it's warranted, I've given it to Brian Flores as well. So I'm not only blaming Kwesi for Vikings issues right now.
Maybe I just feel a certain type of way because it's like, I tried my best to stay away from the Twitter situation or whatever because some people don't know what the hell they're talking about. But I just feel like it gets more and more like this snowball rolling when this team does not succeed in certain situations. It's like crazy. And it's like, nah, bro, it's everybody. That's just...
my issue with Kwesi is strictly the draft. So, and we agreed on, hey, it's not 100%. I'm not gonna put 100% on Kwesi. But the majority of it is on Kwesi.
And you got that back to butthurt too, because I wasn't butthurt. I'm just saying, hey, I have a great memory, bro. Like I'm saying it though.
Because I wasn't understanding your defense of Kwesi to where it's like, why is he defending his draft classes? Yes, he delegates. Yes, he does this, he does that. But to me, there's no defending the majority of those picks because every single draft season, every single time after we come out of the draft, there's always that one guy where Kwesi's like, this is my guy. I've been studying this guy's film in a dark room. And every single time, that guy's been cut from the football team. Whether it be a Caleb Evans, whether it be a Brian Asamoah, every time one of his guys that he drafted or picked, he gets cut. So it's like...
Asamoah was something different though, bro. That was personal to him.
No, again, it was. But that's the problem.
because they
You're
from
in a business where you can't take things
I mean,
personal.
I
You know what
get
I'm saying?
that, though,
So
bro. I get that. Like, I know Asamoah wasn't that great. I mean, I
he
don't
had
like.
his moments.
No, he's a small. I don't like
He's a
small
good
linebackers,
special teams player. He's a special teams guy.
but not where you drafted them.
Not what you drafted him to do, and that's on Kwesi.
All right. I give you that one, Asamoah. I give you that one.
Yeah.
I'll give you
But also with it goes obviously KOC has obviously got a hand in, especially the quarterback position, who we drafted at quarterback, and the jury's still out on JJ McCarthy. I don't think we can judge him either way. You can say, hey, he's been too fragile to start his career. That's a red flag. You can use that. But when it comes to play with JJ McCarthy, we saw the kid in 2 games.
Yeah.
One of those games, that the play calling was absolutely terrible against the Falcons. The offensive line couldn't block to save their lives. So I'm not going to hold that game against JJ McCarthy. He's the NFC Player of the Week the first week of the season.
Man,
And then
that.
what? Hey, who led that team to victory in week 1 against the Bills?
I'm not trying to shit on his little award, but we ain't hanging that, man. We're not hanging out. We not. He had a great game. He had a great game, man. But we ain't finna go out here and be like he was an NFC Player of the Week. Nah, bro.
Hey, I didn't give him no award. I didn't give him no award. I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating facts,
bro. It's an empty reward, man.
I'm just stating facts. Just stating facts. All right,
bro. It's not a reward.
But regardless, people, 7 out of his first 8 quarters were just atrocious, and he looked terrible. If JJ McCarthy's not the quarterback of this football team in week 1, we're not winning that game.
Yeah, I say that, but I'm still not gonna give him
and I'm not saying it's you that's bashing JJ McCarthy or anything like that. But the jury is still out on him to where it's like, okay, he's played 2 games. He's a young guy. He needs to develop a little bit.
Yeah. I get that.
A lot of people talk about Bo Nix and all these guys that were in the same draft class and Drake May. What they don't remember is that Bo Nix went through a period of time where he looked terrible to start the year last year. That's what people forget.
And Bo Nix and all these other guys are at least 3 years older than JJ McCarthy, so they have more football.
And they allowed him to develop throughout the.
And they COVID kids too. I do have to put that out there too. They are COVID kids. Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penn, all these guys are COVID kids. That's why they are so old coming to the draft. Like, I believe in JJ McCarthy. I really do. I mean, I initially said from the jump that I wanted him to come out there and just sling the ball and do what he needs to do to get his development. I just feel like a portion of this fan base, they want him to hit the ground running, when he's only played a couple of games. He's only played, 3 games, preseason and these 2 games, right? So, like, I get that. Like, I'm willing to be patient with his development. It just pisses me off when you get to the point to where, you see a lot of fans out there to where they don't understand that. You get what I'm saying? Like, they don't understand that attribute of, hey, he's young. He needs to. It's gonna look bad before it looks better. If you look at, Ben Roethlisberger back in the day when he was in the beginning of his career, he couldn't throw the ball for shit. But at the end of his career, he was one of the best throwing quarterbacks. Like Tom Brady, for example, was the same way. They were winning with defense, great kicking,
and run
game. Like, I'm cool with that. That's why I'm always willing to be like, nah, McCarthy's gonna be all right. But like I go back to say it again, the situation he's coming into right now against Detroit next week.
It's not looking good.
A part of me doesn't want him to play because I don't want him to have that pressure because I don't want him to, be to the point to where he can't make mistakes. Shit, I basically said, like, bro, by week 7, I wanted McCarthy to basically lead the league in picks, and people was like, oh, why is that? Because you got to figure out what windows you have.
Yeah.
And if you don't slang it, you're gonna be gun shy when it actually comes down to it. So it's like, yeah, that's just how I look at it.
His development, the majority of it depends on KOC, and the way KOC has been calling games this season,
I wouldn't feel comfortable with JJ McCarthy behind center. Like until he develops some type of short passing game into his or running the ball on 2nd and 3rd and 1, like it's not going to help your young quarterback when you're having these long developing plays downfield and your offensive
It's a
line
line of
can't hold
trash.
up for you.
Yeah.
So his development's going to solely land on how KOC develops him and how he calls his plays. And this year, I've had my issues with KOC's play calling in years prior, but obviously, like we said, when you win, you don't talk about it as
You don't
much
talk
because
about it.
you're
Yeah.
winning.
You're winning.
Yeah, you're a 10 plus win football team and you're going to the playoffs. You're talking about who you're facing in the playoffs. You're not going to talk about, oh well, we had a 3rd and 1, decided to throw for it and didn't get it, but we still ended up winning the game. So the perspective changes when you're not putting up W's. But when you have a young quarterback like that, you got to be able to put together a game plan that's going to put him in a position to be successful. And KOC has failed to do that. And not only has he failed to do that with JJ McCarthy, he's failed to do that with Carson Wentz outside of maybe one game where we said, okay, we got some quick passing going. We got some RPOs with Carson Wentz going. I'm like, okay, I see a little bit of an adjustment in the play calling. I want to be able to see that with JJ McCarthy. I want to be able to see KLC looking at the game plan saying, you know what? Let's do some more quick hitters. Let's hit a slant or two. Because I still don't remember the last time we ran a slant. I think we ran one with Carson Wentz and it was an RPO. And it was a completion, if I remember correctly. So I got to see the adjustments from KOC in his game plan and his play calling for JJ McCarthy, because we're hearing a lot about, oh, well, we got to make sure JJ McCarthy's good to go. He's comfortable. His footwork is right. Well, in that same time, we got to make sure KOC's play calling and his game plan is right.
The game plan is tailored to what he can do as of right now. That's what it needs
Yeah.
to be. Like
Yeah.
you can't come into a situation to where you got a young quarterback, a rookie at the most. You can't give him all the pages in the playbook. You got to give him the pages that you know he can run well,
Yep.
efficient. He can build on that. Then you start bringing in more plays to situation. That's my biggest problem with KLC is like I just feel we got Zimmer in reverse because it's like how Mike Zimmer was with the defense. It's like Kevin O'Connell's like, this is my offense. You're gonna run it this way, and he doesn't
Yep.
necessarily want to change the situation. This is why I say like this team, is going to shit, and it's gonna be tough to see for the next 3 games because it's like the book is out, bro. Like the book is
Yeah.
out. Like people know how to stop this how to stop this offense, right? They're not running the ball the right way. They're not getting guys open, down the field because offensive line can't block. They're not doing any slants. It's like it's the same shit over and over again. It's this same song, bro. The scripted plays in the first quarter look good, but what about the second and third quarter?
Yep.
It's like I don't know, bro. Like I believe in put it like this though, man. Maybe I believe in Quasi more than what I believe in Kevin O'Connell because I just believe like from a general manager standpoint, he's willing to do what is needed for his team to succeed for his coaches. So I just like what got me on the Quasi situation was like the Cam Robinson situation, right? He didn't have to go out and get Cam Robinson, but
Yeah.
even though Cam Robinson was not great, he was solid. He was
No,
solid.
that was a great trade
Yeah,
to
like
fix Cam Robinson. That saved the season.
it saved the season, and that's what I feel like he has the mentality to do that. I believe in that more than what I believe in play calling and Kevin O'Connell's coaching staff in general, because I think that he's shit. Quasi's first hire, he wanted hardball, bro. That's where his mind was at. Like for real. If you really want to break it down there, like that's where his mind was at. His mind was hardball. His mind wasn't Kevin O'Connell. So for him to have that something in back there, I'm gonna get behind that because I feel like this dude is like he wants this team to succeed. He knows the chips are against him as a general manager, and he's gonna, figure it out, bro.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I will give Kwesi a ton of credit for, is that if there's a need on this team, or if we need to go make a move, he'll go make that move. Whether it's a big move, whether it's a small move, he'll go out there and he'll make that move. And that's one thing that Rick Spielman never did. And I liked Rick Spielman. I liked Rick Spielman as a GM. I think he drafted extremely well majority of the time. Yes, he had some bad draft classes, but he's drafted like stalwarts of this Vikings organization, whether it be Christian Darrisaw, whether it be Justin Jefferson, whether it be Brian O'Neill. Like, he's drafted guys that are going to be possibly, I mean, Justin Jefferson obviously is going to be Hall of Fame. Christian Darrisaw looks like he may be on his way to the Hall of Fame. I haven't seen that from Kwesi yet. I haven't, and I need to see that. But again, I give credit where credit is due. And if we need a splash move, or if we need to go pick up somebody, Kwesi is more than willing to do so. And I give him full credit for doing that. I just got to see his success rate in the draft go up. Because regardless of what we want to say is, it's this, obviously the scouting department has a hand in it. But he made those hires. He deserves a big portion of blame for how these drafts have been looking. And some of these draft day trades are him. So I'm not calling for Kwesi to be fired. I'm not calling for KOC to be fired. I need to see some improvement, and I need to see it fast, or you're on the hot seat and you're about to get fired. Like, I don't see KOC getting fired after this year. I feel like if this year goes bad, we don't see much development from JJ, we're going to give him one more year. And we say, look, we got to see something out of JJ. This team's got to be back in the playoffs. He's failed to win a playoff game.
0-2.
He's 0-2.
Outcoached in both playoff games.
0-2. One of those being at home against, I know Daniel Jones is balling this year, but this is New York Giants Daniel Jones we went up against.
Kevin O'Connell choked that game off in Detroit. I mean, in New York, because I'm gonna keep saying this. I know Lefty them in the comments gonna get mad. If you go back to the game, he went forward on fourth down, missed it. We don't get a field goal. New York gets the ball. They scored. Now we're pressing. That's on Kevin O'Connell's play calling. That's what really happened. So I don't care what you say about Kirk Cousins throwing the short of the sticks. That's the only play that was available at that time. But we don't even get there if Kevin O'Connell does not go forward on fourth down.
Yeah.
Prior.
Yeah. So, and not to mention going back to situational play calling.
That's what I'm saying. Situational.
There's one play that stuck out to me, and I'll never forget it. Is when we ran that stupid end around double pass and passed it back to Kirk Cousins on, I think it was 4th and 2 or 4th and 1. We threw it back to Kirk Cousins like Kirk Cousins was going to catch the ball and run for a first down.
And run for a first down, yeah.
And I'm sitting here and we have one of those play calls every single game, and it's always on a 3rd and short, a 4th and short, okay, if we run some shit like that and we're up by 14 points and
not going to change the game. It's going to be whatever.
Yeah, it's like a 2nd and 1 and you run a trick play like that. Okay, whatever. We got 2 more downs to get it right, or 1 more down to get it right before we punt it back. But when you're running that in a playoff game on 4th and 1,
right,
and you're throwing it to a guy in Kirk Cousins, this isn't a Lamar Jackson. This isn't a fucking Josh Dobbs. Yeah. This is Kirk Cousins we're talking about here. Yeah. So
and that's what I'm saying, though, bro. If he takes the field goal I gotta look at the score. I think they're probably up. But you turn the ball over, and then New York drives down the field, which means they kill the clock. You get what I'm saying? And they score a touchdown. So now when you get the ball, you don't have enough time to do anything, and you have to get a touchdown. I get what y'all saying about, Hockenson couldn't break a tackle or whatever. We don't get to that point if he just situationally just kicks the field goal and then goes back and plays defense. That's my gripe with Kevin O'Connell. Stuff like that in the magnitude is y'all get to the point where I'm not saying you, SK, but some people get to the point where they blame the players, and it's what about the series before? Come on, bro. That's that's a situational football aspect where he said coming in here that he wanted this team to be situational masters. No, we are not situational masters right now.
We're not. We're the opposite.
You know, we're mediocre at best. But I know you got to get out of here because you said about 5 o'clock though, right? So
yeah,
out of Quasi, Brian Flores is gone next year. I know that. Like he's gone.
Yeah, I think it's just a mutual thing. He's gonna want to go somewhere and either get more money or get a head coach. Which I don't think he's not getting a head coaching job. So it's either the Vikings are gonna re-sign him as their DC.
They can't fire him
for next year and next few years, or they can't because his contract's up regardless. So it's either you're re-signing the guy or he's going to go elsewhere. And that's going to be a big decision that KOC and Quasi and this front office are going to have to make because, we're talking about all the flaws with B-Flow and all this stuff, but I can guarantee you in that organization, Brian Flores is looked at very highly in that organization.
I think
in that locker room. Like, the guys love him. So, I think more than likely he's out of here. And that may not necessarily be a bad thing, but you have to be able to hire somebody that's going to come in and, turn this defense around. And like you said, we're running out of time. My biggest gripe this offseason, my biggest, sour taste in my mouth from this offseason is, why did we trade away Harrison Phillips, who was probably our best run defender?
Brian.
And now look at us.
Brian Flores.
Now look at us.
Because I think
we're giving up 100-yard games to Kenneth Gainwell and fucking Vidal, whatever the hell his name is, Vidal. And again, we're looking like that Donato defense right now. That's what it's looking like.
It's that situation, bro. I just think it's too much leading with ego on both sides of the ball. I think Flores has a situation.
For sure.
I think Flores is like, yo, I can make this scheme and do this and that. I think that's a problem on both sides of the ball. It's like they want to scheme everything. But you say the Harrison Phillips situation, I think the biggest regret that I have in the offseason is not giving Cam Bynum the money and actually giving it to Josh Metellus, because Josh Metellus can't play.
Metellus ain't looking good. He ain't looking good.
Tell Rob,
he's not a cover safety. He's not a cover safety. He's not. He's a guy that can come up in the box and he can be kind of that hybrid linebacker type of guy.
Right.
But he's not a that's gonna be able to cover a slot receiver. He's not a guy that's gonna. There's nowhere even close to Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus. Now, I wasn't necessarily just referring to the play of Harrison Phillips. I think we miss Harrison Phillips more as a leader in the locker room than we miss him on the field.
You don't trade
captain. And they show this team right now. Yeah, this team right now, you can tell they're lacking leadership.
Yeah,
they're lacking leadership now.
You don't trade captains.
We're also exactly. You don't trade captains because they mean a lot more than what they just do on the football field. And I'll sit here and I'll defend bringing Harrison Smith back time and time again, because at the end of the day, he's a leader in that locker room and he's going to keep dudes in check and people respect him. And when he does speak up and say something, they listen. And same with Harrison Phillips. Who was the guy in the middle of the freaking middle of the huddle before every single game getting the guys going? Harrison Phillips was that guy. It wasn't Harrison Smith. It wasn't Jonathan Grenard. It wasn't Blake Cashman. It wasn't Andrew Van Ginkel. All those guys are kind of more quiet guys. Yes, they go out there, they perform, they ball. But when it comes to being a leader in the locker room, that holds just as much weight as your performance on the field. And I think they took Harrison Phillips for granted and they said, well, we signed Jonathan Hargrave, we signed Jonathan Allen. We don't really have room for Harrison Phillips here. And we got some young guys in LDR and Jalen Redmond, which Redmond is playing out of his fucking mind this season. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Jalen Redmond.
He's a free
But
agent.
yeah, which you're gonna have to pay the guy. You're gonna have to pay him. So I just think they took Harrison Phillips for granted, and it's showing not only on the field, but it's showing with lack of leadership in the locker room as well. Because there's no like leadership. Like there's no direction right now. Like this is the lowest I've felt in the KOC since KOC's been head coach of this football team. This is the lowest I've felt.
Because I think we feel the lowest because it's like we kind of see the writing on the wall and we don't actually see a exit strategy to actually get back to where they need to be. And that's why I go back to JJ. It's like it's all on McCarthy now to get this to right the ship.
And that's a lot to burden as a young quarterback.
and that's a lot. So yeah. San Bernardino?
Yes, sir. You already know.
I know. I see the sign in the background.
Stizzy.
Get some Panda Express if you down the street. Just stay away from the girls on the corner.
No, we're not going down G Street. Not today.
Well, look though, man, I appreciate it though, man. I wasn't trying to be super hostile with you. I'm just always like, hey, man, if we're gonna debate, man, I'd rather debate like this than on Twitter than with words because you can't really gauge how somebody's trying to talk to you all the time. You get what I'm saying?
100%.
It's just words.
a lot of people get caught up in this Twitter shit and things get personal with people. I'll never take nothing personal and I'll never make nothing personal on some Twitter, especially about the Vikings, man. We're all here. We all want the same fucking thing. We all want a Super Bowl. We all want to be successful. We all want JJ McCarthy to be good. We all want KLC to be the greatest coach in the NFL. And we all want Kwesi to be the best GM in the NFL. It's just we all have different perspectives of how we think we're going to get to that point. So when people get worked up and things become personal on Twitter because my opinion isn't the same as yours, that's when I turn it off. So I have enough respect for you to be like, I can sit down and I can chop it up with you. And even if shit gets heated on our different opinions, I know it's never going to get personal or get to that point. So I'm always willing to come on and debate with you.
Yeah, people see with me, it's like I just believe in like you learn more from people that don't agree with you versus the people that do. And,
100%.
And even if things get heated or whatever, like I can take this conversation we had today for this past, hour or whatever. I might actually take it and learn something from it and actually look at something a little bit differently. And you're not going to get that when you're talking to an echo chamber. You get what I'm saying?
Or you're yelling back and forth.
Yeah. You're not going to get that, bro. So yeah. But
now we do it right over here. We do it right over here.
Yeah. When Viking fans got differences, this is what we do. We give y'all some emergency content. That's what.
Yeah. At least we try to. At least some people, because trust me, I've been in a position where I've given people opportunities to say, hey, let's go live and we can make some content out of it. If you want to come on and you want to debate certain aspects of whether it be JJ McCarthy or play calling or whatever it may be, let's go live and let's debate it. And I've given people multiple opportunities to do so, but most of the time, nobody's ever willing to get on. Not saying that I'm like, oh, this great debater or anything like that. But I'm willing to, and if I'm wrong, I'll sit there and I'll tell you I'm wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So a lot of people, they won't do that. So, but yeah, we handle things a little bit different over here in San Bernardino.
Hey, for real. Oh man, get back to where you're going, man. You called me. I was trying to play my PS5 right now. It goes to shimmy right now, but I got to get back to that. Enough with these Vikings, man. I need to.
We need a mental break from these Vikings. I put them on timeout. They're on timeout right now.
It's like we said before, though, man. These next 3 weeks, man, it's gonna be a determining factor. And I think before I go, like the thing I do know about the Wilfs, even if they losing and they competitive, they cool with that. But if they losing and they consistently get embarrassed, that's when they have a problem.
And I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
I know what this team is this year. If we lose against really good teams, which that's who we're playing in these next like 6-7 weeks, I can deal with that, but it's how you come out and how you lose those games. If you you put up a good effort and it's just like, hey, they were just the better team. It is what it is. You can't go out there and you can't come out flat. You can't come out and fall on your face. And we have to see something from J.J. McCarthy. We have to see some type of development from J.J. McCarthy. And I'll be happy with that. I'll be good.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But Dan Campbell paid him. He's going to try to put 50 on us tomorrow, next week. You know that.
Oh, you know he is.
Just be prepared, though. Well, shit, let's get out of here, man. All right, SK, man. Good talking to you, bro. You got to bring me on your phone next time.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Next time we're arguing about some shit, I got you.
All right.
All right, bro.
All right.